Rampage is an awesome new game that just came out. I actually got mine so early that a couple of the sticker sheets weren't even in the box. They were taped to it from the manufacturer. Osmotic Games puts this one out. It's based on a 1980s video game slash arcade game where you basically take control of a giant monster and you go around smashing the city, beating up other monsters, and eating people. Only in this they call them meeples. It takes around a half an hour or so to play, a little bit to set up. Can support 2 to 4 players, and they recommend ages 8 and up. And the box weighs a ton because it comes with a ton of stuff. If we can get a good enough picture there. But when I first got it, I thought it was going to be a game about dice rolling, and actually there's no dice involved whatsoever. And once I get it open and show you, you'll understand. Like I said, an absolute ton of stuff comes with the set. And here's the leftovers of the sticker sheets that they sent for the meeples. They actually send you one more of each guide than you need. Now, your first time you play, there is a lot of setup that's going to take you a bit. These, I'm not sure if they're resin or wood, but these are your monsters. And each one of them needs the sticker put on. And then you have these little pucks, which are for your feet, your base. This is actually how you do your movement. And we'll get to that when we get everything set up. But there's 4 of those, one for each monster. Now, I was a little disappointed that the monsters in the game do not reflect the ones from Rampage. There was a Godzilla-like guy, there was a giant monkey, there was a werewolf, and in this, all of them are giant lizards. So that was kind of disappointing, but I can live with that because the rest of the game is awesome enough. You get these little 3D tokens of vehicles, which also need the stickers put on them. You have the daunting task of taking these meeples, and there's over 90 of them, and every single one gets a sticker on front and back. That takes forever, and they don't all line up perfectly, so it takes some finagling to get them on there. You don't have to put them on there, but it makes the game look better, I think. You have your teeth here, which is how you keep track of your hit points. You have your power cards, super secret power cards, and character cards, which add a little bit of personality to your monsters. This stack here is all the building ruins. You'll see them when I put the board together. And then you got your larger buildings here, and even bigger ones here for the stadium. That's all pre-done. You just got to punch them out of the cardboard. And then the board itself comes in 2 pieces. And this actually folds out. It's quite a big game board. And then you can see the hole in the middle. There's a piece that fits in there. But these raised up sections, I don't know if you can see, here and here, they all need to be stuck on. They're like a sticker. There's a template to put them on. I've heard rumors where a couple people had their boards cut improperly and these overhanged, which seems like it would be really crappy, but luckily mine didn't. And these are going to be the bases where you build your buildings. And it's the same thing on the other board set. And the board itself is made of nice thick pressed board stuff. Most game boards are made out of, but it's nice and thick. It's not going to bend on you. The one thing I will mention, and I think I lost mine again, there they are, is be careful when you open up the box. I almost threw these ones out. There are 2 little plastic pegs. They're little clips. And when I get my board put together, I will show you what they're for. And it really sucks if you lose these. So definitely, the first game we played, we were all upset because we thought there was something, a flaw in the game. But then we figured out it was because these were still hidden in the box. So we'll set the game up, show you a little bit about it, and be right back. Those little plastic clips I showed you, this is where they go. It's on the seam where the 2 boards meet. And if you don't put it on there, what happens is, even if your table's level, sometimes you end up with a gap like this. And what will happen is when you go to do your move, you hit it, bounce off. Or stop dead like that. And what we were doing is actually having somebody hold their finger on there to hold the board down the first couple games until we realized that these little clips are in the box. So definitely don't lose those clips. Here's a look at the actual meeple that come with the game. There's 6 different colors, and there's 15 of each, so there's 90 total. And you have your little photographer guy in blue, the girl in yellow, there's the old man in gray, business guy in black, the army guy in green, and the superhero in red. And so for the record here, I was saying how it was a little time consuming to set up. Let me give you an example here. This is a building ruins at the bottom of one of the buildings. You have to put one of these little meeples in each corner. Like that. And then a new floor. And then one in each corner. And then a new floor. And you do this so on and so on. Until you get to the top floor, you put on the roof, and then one guy on the roof. And you have to do that for each of the ruins around the table. So I'll get the rest of it set up and be back. Just a quick look at one of the tiles here. You can see this one's a living space. There's a couple different ones, but you can see in the corners that has the little meeple icons. That's how you know where to put the guys when you're setting the game up. And when you get to the top floor of the building, there's one on the top floor. And again, that's how you know where to put them. Things like the stadium have 4 on there, and then the guys underneath, there's actually a lot more, but they're all marked so you know where they go, so it doesn't take as bad as you think. I'm almost done here. Alright, so here we have our whole city set up. All the buildings are ready. Meeples are prepared to be eaten. Have our monster ready to attack. And we have our little monster mat here. Behind it shows you what actions you can take for the turn. I can get in on that. You can do any 2 actions. You have attack, breath weapon, destroy, or throw a vehicle. And then down here, whenever you kill or eat anything, they go behind here so your opponents don't know what you have. And then you get to eat people. That's your last step. So you put everything you do behind this thing so your opponents can't see who's winning. And then my teeth fell off here. You have 6 teeth. You have 4 removable ones down here and 2 permanent ones up there. And you can never lose your 2 permanent. Whenever you take damage or something bad happens, you lose a tooth. If you lose all of your teeth and then you get an ability that tells you have to lose another one, you actually spit up 2 of the people that you swallowed, which ends up being bad, so you don't want to do that. You can also beat other monsters up and eat their teeth, which are worth bonus points later on. The number of teeth indicates how many people you can eat a turn. So starting out, you can eat 6 people a turn if they're available. And now we need to get some special details on our monster. At the beginning of the game, everyone's going to get dealt a random character card. The characters give your monster a little bit of personality, make it a little bit different than others. And we have the scrap merchant, and each one has a little bonus that gives you different victory points at the end of the game. In his case, you can look these up. They're actually all described in this neat little cheat sheet they give you, and it's color coded, so your character cards are blue. And the scrap merchant is right there. Gives you 5 victory points for each vehicle on a ruin at the end of the game. And there's a variety of different ones. The softy gives you bonuses for extra teeth. Yeah, they all have different bonuses for doing different things. Brawler guy gets you bonuses for breaking other monsters' teeth. The shy one, my daughter got the last game we played. He gets a bonus for how many photographers you eat, which is what the colored meeples are. They all have names. I'll get to that. And yeah, so they give you a little bit of personality. And one of the big things in the rulebook is after you get your cards dealt to you, you have to make up a little story about your monster. You don't have to. It's kind of fun though. Gives you some background, gives your character or your monster some personality, and it's actually by the rules used to determine who goes first, whoever comes up with the best backstory. Next, we're going to look at powers. There's a wide variety of different powers. All have different uses. The Kung Fu one's actually kind of entertaining. When you're, instead of making a normal attack, you can actually, or another normal move, you actually pick up your base, put it on top of your guy and flick it, and wherever it lands is where you move to. Kind of an interesting thing. You can use it to knock down other monsters and beat them up. Trying to think what other ones in here. Stretchy Tongue lets you eat people from the next neighborhood over instead of the one that you're in. Retainer gives you extra teeth. Vacuum lets you suck up people who get knocked off the board. Telekinesis lets you throw vehicles no matter where they are on the table. Normally you can only do one that's nearby you. This lets you pick one up from the other side of the board and throw it. Stretchy lets you move your base wherever you want to be before you do your normal move attack, as long as you stay in the same neighborhood. Some interesting things. Again, these ones can be used the whole game. They're revealed so everybody knows you have it. And it adds a little bit of flavor to your character, makes them a little unique. Keeps the game from getting stale, because every time you get a different character and a different power, and it adds variety. And again, all those are listed on our little cheat sheet here. So until you learn them, you can always look them up. These ones are my favorite. It is your super secret power. And every player gets one of these at the beginning of the game too, but these you remain hidden and you don't reveal it until you actually use it. The downside is they can only be used once and then they're discarded. But these have some really just powerful effects. Who Cut the Cheese is the one that I had last game. And it basically flips over all of your opponents, and then they have to spend at least one of their actions next turn standing back up. Invisibility is a nice one. You basically take your monster off of its base, and because it's not on the base, it can't be knocked over, so you can't take damage from other players that turn. But yeah, these are really cool ones. All of them have special things, and they're a big bonus, but like I said, they can only be used once. So you have to time when you want to use these. Oftentimes you end up on the last turn of the game and you're like, oh crap, I never used it. But it's always nice to have. Come in handy in a lot of different situations. And again, all of these super secret powers are listed on your little cheat sheet here. So one of the first things here is we get this awesome rulebook. Full color, has art from the game. Does a really good explanation of how to set up and do everything throughout the game. Everything is laid out in phases, in the order that you have to do the actions. They have an explanation of your different actions you can do. Your attack, demolish, breath, and tossing vehicles. And it's laid out really well. Has another copy of the cheat sheet in the back, so you can look up any power in the game. So you actually get two copies of this. There's one built in the rulebook, and there's one a standalone sheet. And they have some FAQs on the back, as well as some optional variants to play. And the last one here is we have the, I'm not sure what they call this card, but what happens is during the game, your meeple sometimes get knocked off the board. Anybody who gets knocked off the board is considered to have escaped. And you choose one of these to play, and as people escape, you put them on here, and when it gets, whoever lets this last person escape gets whatever this effect is. Some of them affect all players, some of them only affect that player or that person. And these are all described in the rulebook what they do. This one on this side is color coded. If 3 blue get away, that happens, and so on. If the other side is just anyone that gets away, it triggers these. And this one, even if you get all the way to the end and that many escape, it ends the game immediately. So they add a little bit of variety to the game. I prefer the colored one because it's a little more random. With this one, you know, oh, I don't want to make an attack because we're sitting on this, and if I knock so much as one guy off the board, I'm going to get these ill effects, especially like the -2 teeth one. So it kind of changes what you want to do. In this one, it's all a matter of colors. So depending on which color might get knocked off the board, it may not do anything, it may do something bad. So kind of a neat little add-on. And this is the part where the game kind of got different from what I expected. I expected dice and things, and it really gets into the actual destruction. And by what that means is basically, say it's your turn, take your monster off. You have this little pog, that's your movement. Now to move in this game, you basically flick your pog. And wherever it lands, that's where you are. You get to do 2 actions a turn. One is to move, attacking is one. Say I ended here. My feet are within the sidewalk of that building. So my second action could be to attack. And this is where the game gets really fun and rambunctious when you have a lot of friends. Because you get to do things like this. To attack, you hold your creature like this. Shoulder height off the table. And drop him. And that's how you make an attack. And at the end, you put your guy back on your feet. Now in this case, we had one meeple escape. So he would go over on our board. For escaped meeple. Oops, wrong one. There we go. And then you would go on to the next phase would be to eat. Now these guys that are still on top of the building cannot be eaten unless they're past the sidewalk and on the neighborhood. And you can only eat in the neighborhood you're in. And if you zoom up here, you can see this is one neighborhood, this is one neighborhood. The beach here is a neighborhood. This area here is one. They're kind of color coded. They have sidewalks and things in between them. Now I am in the same neighborhood as him, so I could eat him. This is also a free game. There's nobody on it and it's laying there. I can eat that. And they go behind your little card to signify you've eaten them. And then it would be the next player's turn. And this is how you carry on turn after turn. If there was a vehicle in my neighborhood, which there currently isn't, I could take a vehicle, set it on my head like that. And I can't really do this because I'm holding the camera, but you would hold your figure with 2 fingers like this. With the other hand, you flick the vehicle off and you can throw it at people, you can throw it at buildings, you can throw it at other creatures to knock them off or their base. And if for some reason you were to fall off of your base, you lose a tooth if it was another creature who did that to you. And you have to spend one of your actions next turn getting back up. And there's a lot of other things. The breath weapon is one we really don't use a lot. It involves putting your chin on top of here and then blowing. It's kind of fun, but my fear is I play with little kids and I don't want them spitting on the board. So we haven't really gotten into that rule. The game itself is a lot of fun. It is some time consuming, but there's just something about dropping your monster and demolishing buildings. More people got away. It's not what I expected when I bought the game, but it's definitely a lot of fun, and we have had fun playing it. So check it out. It's Rampage by Asmati Games, and I'll see you in the next one.